here. How about you? Are you here? If you are here, of course, the same thing. You got to let me know. Otherwise, I'm here by myself, which I could be. How is everybody today? Did you have a good day? I mean, we were just hanging out this morning, so maybe you're a little tired of me, right? Maybe, because I'm a little blank right now. Oh, excuse me 1 minute. I got to take those ping pongs off. That means somebody's here because they rang the doorbell. But I don't know who they are. Hi. That's all I can say. I'm just waiting for it to pull up secondary. I wish I could do this before we ever came on, but it won't let me. I have to wait until everything's activated and then it lets me know that I can do it. And I'm not there yet. How long does this take? Like a full minute? Come on. This morning it was pretty fast because it knew that I was late. Okay, in the meantime, while we're waiting for it to come on, I have some little fun facts for you. And maybe it's not even going to come on at all. Okay, so I have to look over here to read the fun fact because I don't remember stuff. Okay, this technique, I'm trying to move around everything and see, will help you relax. So if you need to relax, this technique will activate the vagus nerve, which connects your brain to your abdomen. Now you tell me how this works. If anybody out there is in the medical field, I want to know how this works. It says all you have to do is blow on your thumb for a few seconds. And it's supposed to activate the vagus nerve. I don't know. It doesn't say how you blow on it or whether you put it in your mouth and blow how you did when you're a little kid. But you blow on your thumb for a few seconds. It's supposed to relax you. And why connecting your brain to your abdomen makes you relax? I don't know. That seems kind of silly to me. Okay, you tell me if that works. All right, it's not going to pull up, so I don't know who anybody is unless you give me your name. And then it will pull it up. Oh, Alice is here. Hello again. That means you were with me this morning. That was a fiasco this morning, wasn't it? Cute project, though, huh? Did you all get your little trees done? Did anybody make a tree? You had all day, right? What did you do all day today? Surely you did something. Okay, I have another one here for you. Keep trying Wi-Fi. Keep going. All right, I don't know why it's not pulling up over here. Okay, so this is a good one. This is called the ear trick. It says, if this method is believed to help you fall asleep faster. So if you feel like you have a hard time, or maybe you wake up in the night. I mean, for me, I walk through my grandma's house. That's what I do in the middle of the night when I can't sleep. And I imagine the pictures on the walls and the things that were sitting on the counter and her nightstand and everything. I walk through her house. That's what I do. But I'm going to try this tonight if I have trouble. It says to place your fingers behind your ear. And I don't know if it was 2 ears or 1. But it says put your fingers behind your earlobe and move them down just below the bony part, like your jaw right here. And push for a few seconds. And then release. And maybe you'll have to repeat it. And release. And that will help you fall asleep faster. Is anybody going to try that one? That's a good one, I think. All right, so it is not going to pull it up over here. I do not know why. I'm going to try it one more second a different way because I want to know who's talking to me. So give me 1 second. And we'll see if it will pull it up. Okay. Come on. In the meantime, you guys tell me what you've been doing today. Hi, ladies. All I see is hello again. And oh, dang it. Okay. We are going to talk about Bobbinworks today, though. So I've told you some fun facts, and I want you to try them. Tell me if they work. I even read one where it said that, you know how people, you'll see them concentrating really hard and their tongue is hanging out? I read that that actually makes it so your brain works harder. And the reason being is because it inactivates the speaking mechanism in your body. So you can't talk because your tongue's hanging out, right? And so your brain works better. You tell me if that works. I don't know. I'm not one that has my tongue hanging out while I'm doing something important. I guess I have to have my mouth moving. But they said if your tongue is out, you can't talk, so all of the energy goes to thinking. How about that? You like that one? Hi from Arizona. Could that be Mindy? Hey there from home. I can't tell who you are. Okay, I am so sorry. I'm getting really tired of this. It's not even pulling up anything right now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. Okay, we're going to go ahead and work. One thing we were going to talk about today was Bobbinworks. Someone asked how you do it. We have talked about it a little before, but let me go into more detail this time. So right down here, I have some threads. And aren't these beautiful threads? These are variegated threads from Madeira. I love Madeira threads. They're my favorite. And the thing about Madeira is they have serger threads, they have embroidery threads, they have sewing threads, they have shiny, they have not shiny, they have all different kinds of threads. And they are my favorite. And I was first introduced to them with Aurifil, which is made by Madeira. And that is the most beautiful quilting thread you can get. It just sinks right into your fabric. It is just beautiful. I love it. But today we are going to be working with a 12 weight thread. So this is a heavier thread. Normally we sew with like a 40 weight thread or a 50, sometimes even up to an 80. But this is a 12, meaning it's much thicker. And this is about as thick as I would want to go in this project. So here is a very beautiful, aren't those beautiful colors? I just love them. I've got one on my bobbin right now. Now I can wind this right on the bobbin winder on my machine. It works. It even suggests that if you wanted to, you could wind it by hand, but I really don't want to. I don't do anything by hand. Okay, so this right here, you just have to make sure that it's not twisted, however you're going to put it on. And you need to make sure you have enough bobbin to do your project, or at least until you can stop. Because if you try to stop and pick up where you left off, like if we're changing our bobbin when we're quilting, we can always just change the bobbin and go right back to where we were. This you cannot, because you're going to be doing a decorative stitch that is more sensitive to whether or not it looks good, right? And you need to have the same continuous bobbin all the way along. So that's what we're going to use right there. And right here, I have 3 bobbin cases. And these, I think that we have talked about them before, but let's talk about them again. All right, so this one is the purple dot. And officially, they don't call it the purple dot, but in the layman's terms, because that's what we go and say, do you have any purple dot bobbin cases? And most of the time, they'll know what you're talking about, because there is a purple dot right there in the bottom. This one is for embroidery. Now, let me see, this one right here is the bobbin that I keep in my machine all of the time. I don't change it out. It has green paint on the screw. This is the one I just leave in. If I have ugly embroidery that is just not working out, or I can tell something's off, I'm going to switch to my embroidery bobbin. But I don't switch unless I need to. You might find that with certain threads, you need to have your embroidery bobbin case on, and that would be really important. So that's the purple dot. This is the regular bobbin case, but probably with your machine, you got the gray bobbin case. Now this bobbin case, remember I told you this has green paint on the screw? That is telling you you cannot change the tension on this bobbin case. This one does not have green paint or any paint on the screw. You can change the tension on this if you need to. I don't usually, in fact, I have never changed the tension on this. because I haven't needed to. The only time I'm going to use this case is with Bobbinworks, because that's what it's designed for. And I'm going to adjust the tension on my machine, but I'm probably not going to adjust this. And that's okay, because I don't need to. But if you find you need to, then you can. That just puts that out there. Okay, I'm going to move my threads over a little bit, because we're going to use these today. This is also the bobbin cover that came on your machine, but you also probably got another one without the markings on it. But the thing to pay attention to is it's got two little nubs underneath right there, and that is going to hold the bobbin case and everything in just a little bit. But this is the one we use all the time, so you're not even going to know it. But that's what those nubs right there are for. They're just holding everything down, all right? Because we're doing something different with this. All right, those are two important things. You're going to have scissors, because you cannot use the thread cutters, because the thread cutter would want to cut this heavier thread. You don't want to dull that thread cutter, and you don't want to break it. So we're not going to use it at all. That's why I have these. I am going to put one of these little dots over, and I have these dots just because I use them all the time. I'm going to put it over my thread cutter, and that's going to say, don't touch this, don't use it. Otherwise, I would forget, because it's such a habit, right? You just go in and you just cut your threads. All right, so I'm going to put this over my thread cutter button so that I don't accidentally use it. There are times when you're using like twin needles that you have to put one of these dots over the needle threader, because there again, the needle threader won't work if you're using twin needles, right? Exactly right. So I keep these around. Okay, now I have a piece of fabric here. This is just a muslin, and I'm going to be using this beautiful, heavier, variegated thread that I really love. And I'm going to be using yellow on the top, so it's going to be easy for me to see. And I want to have this reinforced. This piece of fabric has fusible fleece on the back, and that works. That'll work just great. And it needs to be reinforced because we're putting heavier threads on here, and we're going to be using a heavier stitch. So this is what I want to have, okay? All right, let's go over to the machine and see how we're going to set this up. I've got my machine on, and I don't have a bobbin case in there, and I'm going to pop my bobbin cover off. My machine is going to tell me to turn the machine off, but you won't be able to see if I do that. So here I go. It's going to warn me. I'm going to ignore that warning. I'm going to slide that carefully out, and I'm going to put my bobbin case in there. Come on, guy. There he goes. Okay, he's in there. I'm going to carefully put this back on. And also, this would be a really good time, if you ever do anything like this, to use your needle exchange button. Remember that button up there? Because that one is really important. It just shuts all those buttons off so they don't work. All right, now I'm going to put my bobbin in the same way I normally do, with the exception of, I'm going to put it in with the thread going the right direction. I'm going to put it under the metal wing, but I'm not going to take it any further than that. I don't know if you can see that, how far I took it. Let's see if we can make that a little bit better. I don't want it to go any further than that. You really can't see, can you? I don't want to go up and around and use my thread cutter because, like I said, this is a heavier thread. So I'm going to put my bobbin cover on. And the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to put my needle down and my needle up. And I'm going to pull that thread up from the back. I'm pulling it the wrong direction. There I go. And the reason I want to do that is because I want to have both those threads hanging off the back right there. I want to have those already out. All right, are you ready to see what we can do? Let me put my foot down. I'm going to turn the machine around just a little bit so you can see what we're doing over here. I'm going to change the direction that we're moving, because I want you to see that we have to be a little bit careful of what stitches we actually choose. Because if you can definitely do a straight stitch, and you can do any forward moving stitches. You don't want to do any side, well, you can do some side to side, but you don't want to do really involved heavy stitches, because you'll find out that they're ugly. They don't have the definition that you're looking for. But a forward moving stitch, you're going to be okay. So let's just go ahead and do my favorite stitch, this serpentine stitch right there. But I want to increase my tension up to about a 6. And this is going to vary depending on what stitch you choose. All right, so having it be Bobbinworks, I'm going to move you again. Having this be Bobbinworks, you know that we have to sew from the back side. And now these are the same color, so it's not going to mean a lot to you, but this is the front side. This is the muslin side. And we're going to be sewing back here. Now, if there's not a definition of where we want to sew, we're going to want to draw a marking on there so we know where to sew, because we're sewing blind. But it seems I'm really not doing a project. I am, and I'm very careful now, because I've got to remember, don't touch that button or that button. So I'm hesitant when I touch the buttons. All right, I'm going to just do a serpentine stitch. And I'm going to go a little bit slower with this as it forms the stitches. And it sounds like it's getting a little stuck in there. Let's see what's going on in a minute. Okay, I have the foot pedal that is my thread cutter, so I've got to remember I need to put a dot down there is where I need to put it, because I'm going to want to cut my thread, and I don't want to do that because I have already told you we can't do that. So I'm going to pull it out. So let's go over here and look at it. And I had a little bit of mess up right up in here where the thread was bunching up a little bit. So you can imagine if you're doing a real heavy stitch, that's going to be a mess. You don't want that. But as it went along, it did just great. So I'm going to go back over here, and I am now going to choose a different stitch. This time, oh, you won't be able to see. I'm going to go, I could go into, I could choose, oh, my thread fell off. Pardon me. Okay, I could go into any of these stitches. I probably wouldn't want to do this stippling stitch. That's way too much stitching, I think, there. But I could easily do this honeycomb stitch. I probably would do a test run on the star ones. Maybe they would be okay, maybe they wouldn't. Let's try this one down here. This is the loopy one, but once again, because I've changed stitches, I have to now go in and change my tension again. And I want to be anywhere between a 6 and an 8. And you may even want to lengthen this stitch. It just really depends. You're going to have to just try it and see what it looks like while you're working. Okay, I'm going to let you guys see how this is coming together. This time I'm going to hold on to my threads in the back just a little bit as the stitch starts and see if that helps with it bunching up there. And I'm not going to go fast. There's even some decorative stitches you could do if you wanted to. It's really just trial and error and maybe what project you're working on. And I'm not even sure this stitch is going to work. I'll do a few more here so we can get an idea of what we have going on. Okay, I'm going to raise my needle and raise my foot and shimmy it off the side. It doesn't really look like my thread is in there correctly. It slipped out, but let's see what happens. Okay, that looks a lot better. So let's go over here and see what this one looks. Oh, this one's not bad. This one's not bad at all. Look at that. Not bad. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do another decorative stitch. I'm going to go into my decorative stitches. I'm going to find one that doesn't have a lot of movement to it. And I'm going to show you some projects that I actually did with Bobbinworks. And some of these stitches you're going to find in the straight stitches, in the utility stitches, like you would in the decorative stitches. I just want to be careful which one I pick. It needs to be just a forward stitch. I don't want to do those. Let's do this one. This one looks kind of pretty. I'm going to increase my tension up to 6 or 7. I'm going to increase my length. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to show you some projects that I've done or places that you can use them. Okay, stop, lift your foot, and lift your needle, and pull it out. And you know, sometimes you just have to say that over and over again. Oh, dang, that is really pretty. Lots of threads hanging out here. So you can see that the simpler the stitch, the easier it stitches. And yet, because it is a heavier thread, it is going to be beautiful. And when you put it in a project, and I'm going to show you some right here. This was not done with Bobbinworks, but this was done with the serger. But imagine if you did this with Bobbinworks, it could be just as beautiful. All right? So these are some what ifs on this one. And here's another one. This is another place where you could stitch over your seam and do a beautiful Bobbinworks stitch. And you can't hardly even see it because I've got matching threads in there. They don't show up very much. This one I use a lot of different threads in it. This is all Bobbinworks. And you can see that this one did not work so well. Can you see how it's a little bunchy right there and right there? And yet look at this one. This is the kite tail with the little bows on it. How pretty that one is. This is just the scallop or the serpentine. And this one is the loopy one that I did right here. That's the same one. That's the loopy one. And then this one almost looks like ocean waves. I got flowers right here. I've got hearts right here. So you don't have to shy away and be afraid of using stitches, but definitely before you get on your project, test it out to make sure what you're getting. Like if I had tested that one, I probably would not have used that one because it did not work out that well. And now here's an example of what you could do. Right here, once again, this is the serger stitch, but you could definitely do Bobbinworks right here and right here. I would do that. Then here is another one with a Bobbinworks, and I've just done a crazy patch, and I have done a heavier thread in there. Such fun things to do. All right, do you have any questions on Bobbinworks? I'm not going to be able to see what your questions are. Crazy, I know. I'm really sorry. I don't know why it's not cooperating with me today. Because it's really not. It's not even pulling it up at all. I'm hoping that you want to try out some Bobbinworks and see what you can do with it. And when you're going to use a decorative stitch, this is definitely where I would use it. It's not a stitch to sew something together. It is a decorative stitch. And be very careful. So some of the things you have to remember is that you have to use the dot. or a piece of tape or anything to cover up that thread cutter. And if you've got the foot thread cutter like I have, somehow block it so you can't accidentally try to cut it. I mean, it might cut it once, but if you try to continually do that, it's going to ruin your machine, and you don't want that. Not at all. Increase your tension between 6 and 8. And that's the tension on the machine. And I wouldn't mess with the tension on your bobbin case unless you really needed to. What else can I tell you? Do any of you, have you used it that you have an idea? I'm going to try and bring your comments over here. I won't know who's saying it, but I'll be able to see your comments. Yeah, like a crazy quilt. That would definitely be a fun place to use it. So you need some ideas where to use it. Which foot am I using? That's a really, really good question. I was just using my J foot. But if I were trying to follow a design or a line, I would definitely have my end foot or my open toe foot. Very definitely. Any other questions? I'm trying to see. I'm trying to back up. It doesn't give me your name, but it's going to tell me what you're asking. Hey, girlfriend, whoever. Sorry, I can't tell who you are. I wish I could. I'm going to have a talk with my phone right here after we get off today and say, you're not obeying me today. You're not doing what I asked you to do. What else do I need to? Oh, definitely put your gray bobbin case in. You got to have that in to do Bobbinworks. I know that sometimes I had forgotten, like when I was switching back and forth, because when I did this crazy patch, so this would be considered a crazy patch. When I did this crazy patch, I think one time I did forget to switch out my bobbin case because I was going back and forth from Bobbinworks to the stitching, to Bobbinworks to the stitching, because I wanted the Bobbinworks stitched into the next seam. So I would do one seam, switch it out, do Bobbinworks, go over the top of it, then stitch the next piece on. So I was switching back and forth a lot. And I know that one time I forgot to switch up my bobbin case, and it was okay. I wouldn't do that all the time, but it was okay that time. But I think Crazy Patch is probably my favorite place to use it. But I can also see using it in, because I hadn't thought of this until today, doing the cross hatching. Look how beautiful that would be if you did Bobbinworks on that cross hatching. Wouldn't that be pretty? Or even where I have the flat lock wave, that would be a great place to do Bobbinworks. And people will say, that's a beautiful stitch. How did you do it? You're going to say, well, that was pretty darn easy. Because it was, right? And it will be, because you're going to do it and you're going to love it. Oh, that's great. If you were making leaves, you could make pretty veins in it using Bobbinworks. That would be great. You could just even use a straight stitch. It would be beautiful in a straight stitch. You know, Teresa, I thought that was you. I thought that was you. Howdy. All right. This is where 2 machines would be nice. That's probably very true. Good suggestion. Have 2 machines set up and have one in Bobbinworks and one in regular sewing if you're going back and forth. Very good idea. I would like that. Yes. Are there any other questions or comments? I'm going to say hello to everybody because I can see you saying hello. I just don't know who you are. I'm so sorry. All right, today is Thursday. That means we have the weekend coming up, right? But you're all going to be making little ribbon trees, the loopy ones we did this morning, right? And you're going to try out some Bobbinworks. So as we talk about these things, it's really good if you try it. Even if you don't make a project, just get out some fabric and do some Bobbinworks on it. And then put that in your book and say, this is what Bobbinworks is. And write down right there that, first of all, you have to have the gray bobbin case. Do not use your thread cutters and increase your tension. And only use forward moving stitches. So you don't want a stitch that goes forward and then backward and then forward and backward. But you will notice, I'm going to come back down here again, that some of these stitches, they are forward-going stitches, but they are not boring by any means. I mean, you look at these hearts, look at the ocean waves, and those are some loops, and these flowers and these loops right here, And then the kite tail, I think those are really beautiful stitches. And you can do this on Bobbinworks. Just test it out, try it. Know what you're going to sew it on and try it on that. But remember, you're sewing from the back. So this is the front of where I was looking to sew, but this is the front of my project. So you're going to be sewing from the back. So you'll need a very clear defined line so that you know where you're sewing. And if you're doing a patchwork like this, you're pretty much going to be able to see where the seams are. So that's not going to be a real big problem. And you don't have to use fusible fleece. This is just a piece of fabric that I had. Any kind of a stabilizer, but you will need some kind of a stabilizer on it, whatever that might be. And you could use something of your choice. Even a shape flex would be a good stabilizer. And it really depends on how thick your stitch is going to be. If you're using a real heavy stitch, then you're going to need more stabilizer. And not more, but maybe just a little thicker. This is not bad. I think this is just on shape flex. There's not a way I can tell. I can feel it. It just feels like shape flex to me. It's on the inside. And it works great. So there you have it. Is anybody going to try it? Are you going to try this technique? Okay, are you going to remember that you have to change your bobbin case? You've got to be in your gray bobbin case. You've got to increase your tension, and that is really important, to increase your tension. Otherwise, you're going to have a globby mess on it. It just will be globby. So increase your tension, increase your length. That really helps with it too. It makes it more flowy. And pick forward moving stitches and use your scissors, not your thread cutters. So cover that thing up so you can't use it. Very important to do. Do you have any questions, and are you going to try it? Because I want you to try it. I want you to see what it's like. So, we've had four people that say they're going to try it. All right, I want to see what you do. Even if you just sew a little sample, show me something that you've done with it. And I know we've had all day today. I haven't seen any trees. Nobody has made a tree. You need to. Okay, so tonight, well, when you get stressed, isn't it when you need to relax, this one doesn't work. It can't work. Blow on your thumb? Really? I don't know. I guess we'll find out when I could have used this morning, right? And when you're trying to fall asleep tonight, push right down here. Hold on to that for a few seconds and then let go. I don't know how many times you're going to do it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to see if it works. I just found these today. They just came across somewhere. All right. I think we're done. That means next week is a pretty empty week, except what is going on tomorrow? Do you remember what we're doing in the morning? Because I want you here. We are doing this little guy. My favorite little guy. I need to give him a name. He's so cute. Yep, he's my friend. That's my friend. We're going to be sewing him in the morning at 10 o'clock. So please come back. And if you haven't signed up for the class, it's not too late. You can still join in. And it doesn't even take a lot of fabrics, a lot of scraps. If you'll notice, he's just got a lot of scraps to him. Just some scraps and a lot of threads on him. And there he goes. He's going to be so cute. I can't wait to sew another one of him tomorrow because I'm going to sew with you. Yes, I am. 10 o'clock tomorrow. And next week, I don't think I'll actually schedule something to see you until Buddy Chat next week. So that might be the next time. It's kind of a dry week. But that's okay because we're going to catch up, right? All right. If you have any questions, please put them in here because I will go back and I'll read them and I'll keep track of you if you're going to keep track of me. Okay? Thank you so much for joining today, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.